Hello, welcome to this second lecture in the course on data governance. My name is Linus, and today we are going to take a look at some of the tools available for us as we implement a data governance program in an organization. But I would like to start this lecture with a quote from the Data Management Book of Knowledge. Data governance is fundamentally about organizational behavior. This is not a problem that can be solved through technology. So data governance is not actually about the tools used. They are there to help, but they do not define the process. And this is something that we will address again and again during this course. Data governance is a cultural process in an organization. The tools do not define this process. There are other things more important than the actual tools used. That being said, the tools are necessary, of course. So that's why we are going to take a look at some of them today. Today's table of contents is as follows. We will start by looking at the Enterprise Dictionary, also known as the Policy Book. Then we will take a look at data classes and policies, managing metadata, the data catalog, assessing and managing data quality, data lineage tracking, data retention, data deletion, data acquisition, and finally we will take a look at some examples of tools and frameworks. So, the Enterprise Dictionary, also known as a policy book, is a document that contains the information types used by the organization, such as customer name, street address, salary, and other kinds of data that is available to an organization. And based on these info types, they will be classified into data classes according to their content, such that a customer name would be a PII or personally identifiable information. There are financial information data classes which classifies financial information, and also business intellectual property. And these are just some examples of available data classes. And these are entered into the policy book so that the organization will know what to do with these types of information. And so with the data classified into data classes, different policies can be applied. Access control is one example, where data analysts perhaps cannot access data classified as personally identifiable information. Data retention policies tells us how long we will keep different kinds of data, where financial transactions often must be kept for a certain time, whereas PII probably will need to be deleted or encrypted or handled differently. And also protection, which data classes are to be encrypted or masked. So these are different kinds of policies that adhere to different data classes. A well-structured policy book will help with the understanding, organizing, and enforcing of policies. And it will also serve as a documentation of policies in the event of an external audit by a regulator. Such an audit will generally demand that the organization makes its policy book available to the regulators, as well as logs describing how the organization actually fulfills the policies in the Enterprise Dictionary or policy book. The same data might have different meaning in different contexts. For example, a customer might want their order to be delivered to their home address, but they might not want marketing materials sent there. So classifying data after use case helps with compliance. The customer address is available in a shipping context, but only in a marketing context if consent has been given. Metadata, the data about the data, is central to data classification. Examples of metadata are where the data is stored, any governance controls such as access control that applies to the data, the owner of the data, and so on. And as metadata does not contain the actual data, the policies applied to the underlying data does not need to apply to the metadata. In other words, knowing that the data exists is not the same as knowing what the data contains. So a data user might search for a table and try to find out from the metadata if the table actually contains relevant data, and if so, request access to the data. The metadata is managed through the use of a data catalog. The data catalog contains information about the data in the organization, such as where the data is located, table schemas and names, column names and descriptions, and usually additional information such as who owns the data and if the data is locally generated or externally purchased, and so on. And later on, at some point, the data is hopefully going to be used. And prior to this usage, it is important to assess the quality of the data in light of the use case. A marketing team and a fraud detection team look for different patterns, so their data should have different quality metrics. So when cleaning and normalizing data, the use case must also always be decided beforehand. And when looking at data quality, we can also note that different kinds of data should have different levels of confidence attached to them. For example, there is a difference between a human noting the temperature by hand each day and an IoT device reporting the temperature to a server, where we can expect the humanly entered values to perhaps be more error prone and the IoT readings to perhaps be more timely and accurate. And so we must take this into account as we attach the confidence levels and the data quality standards to these data tables. Knowing what level of quality to expect from a data source is a part of enhancing the trust in the data, which is the core goal of a data governance program. Establishing ownership of data sources, making individuals or business teams responsible for the quality of the data, is one way of ensuring the data quality is up to the standards set by the organization. Data lineage is the data's way from generation through transformations and aggregations to use for analysis and insights. And tracking the data lineage is important for a number of reasons, such as quality assessment. Has high quality data been tainted by joining it with lower quality data? Privacy and protection. Is sensitive data being exposed somewhere in the process? Explainability. With a clear picture of the data lineage, decisions made by machine learning models trained on that data become more easily explainable, and we can know what we can expect from them because we have a clear picture of the data they have been trained on and its way from generation through the transformation done and finally use for, in this case, training, but also in Power BI reports and other analysis methods. So that's the lineage tracking, and it's an important part of the data governance program. Data retention and data deletion is what data are we supposed to keep and for how long, and what data are we supposed to delete and when and how. So different kinds of data need different policies on retention and deletion. PII might be kept just for as long as strictly necessary for easier compliance with regulations such as GDPR, where you don't necessarily want to be keeping a lot of personal data because customers have the right to ask you to delete it, or the right to know what data you actually have stored about them, and just keeping that personal data for as long as you need it and then deleting it makes it easier to comply with these kinds of regulations. On the other hand, financial transactions often need to be kept for a certain time over a number of years to facilitate investigations of fraud and other economical crimes. So it's important to have different retention and deletion policies for different kinds of data. And deciding on what data to keep and what data to delete is a key part of a data governance policy. Data acquisition is the process in where a data user gets data from some kind of source, or at least tries to, and we will look at an example where a data analyst is seeking to perform a task, and for doing this the data analyst needs data. So the data analyst performs a search in the data catalog and is able to review the relevant data sources. The data analyst then seeks access to the relevant data sources, and the data governance program clearly states who is responsible for granting access and for which use cases access is to be granted. And in this case, access is granted, and the data analyst can perform the task using the data, and the access is logged as all accesses are logged in according to this data governance program. Finally, we will take a look at some of the types of tools available for us, and it's important here to note that the data catalog and the policy book and these processes of data classification, these are all tools available for us as we implement a data governance program. So there are different types of tools to help with the different aspects of a data governance program, and these include infrastructure providers, most often in the cloud, such as Microsoft Azure, Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud. Master data management solutions, which is tightly coupled to data governance in having a master data management program in place as well. Data quality tools include Data Prep, Stitch, and other software to help facilitate the assurance of data quality. Some tools that help with implementing a data governance program include Microsoft Purview, formerly Azure Purview, where you can find auditing, data lifecycle management, data catalog, information protection, and many more features. There is Collibra, which has a data governance framework, a data catalog, lineage tracking, and many more features. And the open source Apache Atlas, which is open source and also has many of the same features as Purview and Collibra, and also, of course, Google, Amazon are also there with tools to help implement a data governance program. I will, however, say this once more. Data governance is not about the tools. It is about the organization, the culture, the people, and the processes. The tools are there to help, but they do not define the process. So, to summarize this lecture, the tools and processes mentioned were documenting the data governance program in an enterprise dictionary or policy book, classifying and cataloging data, managing metadata, assessing and managing data quality, tracking data lineage, making decisions on data retention and deletion policies, and finally we took a look at some tools available for us, some services such as Microsoft Purview, Collibra, Apache Atlas, and that concludes this lecture on the tools available for us in a data governance program. Thank you for listening and goodbye.